you deserve something that you truly love and truly honors who you are and what you want every day. And so I just think if you do that for yourself first before getting into a wedding ring, you're not going to compromise on that wedding ring either. You're going to know what you're doing.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Hello, Be It Babe. How are you? We're going to talk about a topic that you might not think has anything to do with being it until you see it. We're going to talk about jewelry. We're going to talk about rings. We're going to talk about buying the ring for you. Right. And if you're like, oh, I don't need to do that right now, I would strongly encourage you to listen to it. I think we had a great discussion about worthiness and permission versus discussion. And for my single ladies, like, what are we waiting for? Right? Why are we waiting for a person to come into our life, put a ring on that finger? So it was really fun. It's really powerful. And I know when you see Margot McNaull's Instagram and see all the different ways that she designs rings, I think you'll be inspired to really create your own legacy with that. So here is Margot McNaull. All right, Be It Babe. This is really fun. This is a conversation I've been wanting to have for a really long time, ever since I met our guest today. It's going to be fun. We've never talked about jewelry and diamonds and worthiness to buy our own. So Margot McNaull, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell everyone who you are and what you rock at?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I'm Margot. I started a fine jewelry company about 10 years ago, and I went straight into a big need I saw in the market, which was cookie cutter jewelry pieces and mass produced jewelry pieces, which I absolutely hated. And I actually, when I was about to get engaged, now I guess that's like 13 years ago now, I'm getting old.
No, not at all. No, because I will be married this year, 10 years, and I'm not getting old yet.
There you go. We're young. But yeah, I said to my then boyfriend, I said, I don't want you to buy me a ring in North America. I'm Canadian. So we were in Canada. I said, don't buy me a ring in Canada. I want to go to India. I want to buy a ring. And he's like, okay, he doesn't know anything, but he was happy to let me choose because he knew he could never. So we went to India, designed my ring, and I had the most special experience because I got to select everything myself. And for, listeners who don't know, India is like the Mecca of jewelry. That's where it all flows from. They cut most of the diamonds in the world. They're the experts. So by saying India, we're not saying like, it's not cheapening anything. It's actually, they value jewelry so much that they don't even manufacture 10 karat gold. They don't think that's gold.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fascinating. So I go there, design it. I'm like in love with the process. And then I come back and I see all these cookie cutter pieces. And I wanted women to have the experience I had. And that's what actually made me start the business. I was not in this at all. I didn't plan to be in it. My own engagement ring design led me to this. And that's how I started in the jewelry world.
I mean, first of all, I think what a great story you two have together with your jewelry, your ring alone. I think that there is so much around the ring that should have a good story. And then for you to like go into this business after that, having no experience, it's like you went to school for like metal making or like, you know what I mean? Like, were you nervous about it? Did it feel like a big learning curve? What was it like to go from like, okay, I designed my own ring, but now I've got to design for other people. So now I'm ordering for how did you do that? How was that journey?
Yeah, that was a really intense journey because it really brought out the self-doubt in me. And the best way to explain what I do to people is it's like the interior designer coming in and making it beautiful after the architect, put up the house. So I'm a little bit of both. I create the structure, I design the structure and how it's going to look. But what makes our rings and jewelry so unique is actually the little tweaks that I make. It's how I see it. Mm-hmm. And you don't actually need to be a goldsmith for that. And what I realize now, further along is I actually have something very rare and unique. And there are a lot of metal workers out there, and there are a lot of people making jewelry out there that don't have that eye and don't have that ability to make something so, like, tweak it in just a way. Like, just today, I flipped the 3-stone ring, pretty unique custom ring for a client who happens to be a wedding photographer. So of course she's like pretty picky about what she wants.
Because she's seen it all.
And
she's seen everything.
Exactly. So she's like, I do not want that. So she's doing this very cool, unique ring. And I just flipped it. So all I did was like I saw it. I'm like, no, I don't love it. Something's wrong. And I flipped it and I was like, wow. So these are the little things that I realized it took me a long time to overcome the self-doubt, because I would look around, I would feel like I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing. But I think all of that stuff actually made me better at it. But yes, it was a very intense emotional learning curve, I would say.
Yeah, because I think so here's this is how I'm going to equate it to my life. Like, I booked commercials and gigs in LA before I took a commercial acting class. As soon as I took the commercial acting class, I went on a string of like 0 callbacks. And I finally had to go. My agent was like, girl, what is going on? You booked a bunch of stuff before you had any skill, and we gave you skill, and now you suck. And that's how they actually say things more meaner and more direct. And
Wow.
I said, I think that the class screwed me up. I think I started thinking I had to do it in this formulaic way when I was just being myself before with what was going on. So I'm just going to forget everything y'all taught me and try again. And I booked a couple more gigs, and then I was like, I don't actually really like this, so I'm going to quit. But like, I think that, we can tell ourselves a story that we have to, I want to start a jewelry business. Now I need to go and take all these jewelry classes. And actually, by you owning that, you see, like, owning your own eye and not putting putting your worthiness on the education or the history of jewelry making, by you just owning what your own skill sets were from your own intuition, is what makes you so unique and what makes your experience so unique.
Absolutely. Once you can get there, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a lot of women struggle with this. I'm right there with you. Like, the learning curve and the doubt and overcoming all of that is very difficult. I think it's why a lot of people quit in business as well.
Yeah. Do you remember what your tools were to overcome it? Was it just like deep therapy? Was it journaling? Like what?
Honestly, great question. I feel like it took me a long time because maybe I didn't implement, like, I probably could have had some better tools and done it faster. But what it took me towards, and, I feel like in 10 more years, I'm going to have this amazing story to share about what I'm just entering right now. But when I just started, so I went right into the wedding side of things. I was like, I want to work with engaged couples. Now I'm way more excited, not way more. I love working with women. So now we've really tailored it to women, whether it is a woman designing engagement, woman designing something for herself. But back then I was all wedding. So I went into it thinking I'm going to make a really cool experience for women to feel special, that they have this unique piece that's theirs. The jewelry company is called Store by Margot, which is a Gaelic word, SDOR, which is my treasure. I wanted them to feel like it was their treasure, and it wasn't just another piece from the mall that 3 other women are wearing at the same time. So I go into that, but it actually completely knocks me off my feet as I'm going through my own journey of self-doubt and realizing, self-worth, because there's actually a really deep psychological issue that appears when women are looking at jewelry and talking to you about jewelry. And it is that they don't feel like they're worthy of it. And this is something that then I had to go into and realize, where do I feel like, where do I stand? How do I feel about my worth? Pretty low. And this is like years into being married, have a great husband, great family, but those things aren't going to make you feel worthy. They might help you feel good, but the only person who's going to make you feel worthy is you. And that's why I feel like it took me a really long time to kind of get out of that. But I think it brought me to this conversation, which is exciting. And I want to spend kind of the rest of my life doing is, talking to women about how worthy they are. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's the benefit of the slow journey, just uncovering. And like I said, I just wanted women to feel happy and excited. And now I see all of the nuances that you should see in my appointments. You can see in the relational interactions and the doubts and hesitations, versus the women who are like in and they're like, this is what I want. I'm getting it. I know I'm strong. But even those women have their moments, right? Where you can see through it. But all of it is, I think, how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, I 100%. I so agree. I thank you for sharing that. I think it is. I used to work at a jewelry store, and my jewelry store it wasn't like just diamonds. It was more like unique ways of working with diamonds and stones. And so some of our designers like Kathy Waterman, who like makes platinum or 22 karat gold, and it looks like ivy that makes the shape of a heart and this really unique stuff. So like, even though she would make a few of those pieces, it felt very unique. And so it was really fun, but I would watch women come in by themselves and go, oh, this is the piece that makes me feel so special. And then they might come with their partner or a friend or a family member, and that person's like they would almost change how they like something based on if that person would think they were spending too much money, or
Mm-hmm.
you're never going to wear it, or, like you can make that far cheaper, like all these different things from the other person's story. And then there'd be the women who came and go, I really love this. They'd write it down. The husband would just come in, go, she wants that. That's going to make her happy. That's exactly like, so you could see these different relationships. And because I worked at that store for so long, I saw those relationships evolve together or evolve apart, because and it was really the more she felt firm at what she wanted, and the more it's not like, and I don't mean this like he buys her whatever she wants or she buys for herself whatever, but like the more confident she was, and the partner validated that confidence and validated what they wanted, that actually allowed those relationships to be stronger together. And it was just really cool to watch. So my favorite people were the ones that didn't wait for someone to buy it for them, the ones they bought it for themselves. So I want to talk about that because I know that's where your business has evolved. And
Mm-hmm.
our mutual friend Lauren Zoller, who's been on the show before, you all, she designed a piece with you. And I really enjoyed the story of why she got that piece. So can we talk a little bit about why you're so excited about women buying their own diamond and like not waiting for the
Absolutely.
one ring with the one person that
So true. Okay. I love this topic so much. And like I said, our business, there's part of our business that's always going to be rooted in that one ring because it's a specialty. But where I am personally moving towards is this legacy experience of women designing a piece for themselves. And this is all rooted in what we just talked about. And the concept of the experience is we're going to walk through your own personal journey and we're going to take all of the tidbits and pieces out of that. And I'm going to do my thing and put that into your final piece, which I do think most of the time is going to be a ring because the good thing about a ring is you see it, right? Because you're using your hands, you're looking at it. It's a reminder versus a necklace. You don't see that much yourself, right? Unless you're
yeah.
looking in the mirror. So there's something about a ring that is so powerful. And it also seems to be the thing that's always passed down, right? So creating a legacy beyond just something that is going to be passed down is almost honoring your journey and what do you want to do with your life and what story do you want to leave at the end, and just encouraging and honoring women to walk through that process and not be afraid to do that and not, like you said, shame themselves because they don't think that they're worthy to do it or the opinion of someone else. And so what was really great about doing that with Lauren is, she knows what she wants. She's not letting somebody else come in there and tell her what to do. And we got to create this beautiful moment, this big transition in her life of a ring that actually goes back. And the story that came out when we were talking together was just how important her grandmother was in her life. And then we got to put that into the final touches of her ring. And it's going to be her symbol forever of her mission and how she wants to honor her grandmother. And her grandmother almost called that out in her life when she was younger, and she didn't even know what that meant at the time. So this whole experience of, and then working, like, I love what you said, because most people haven't worked at a jewelry store. When someone can come in and give themselves permission to just do what they want is a completely different experience and outcome. And going ahead and saying, I deserve it. I want to design my own piece, whether it's a legacy experience, whether you just come one-on-one, say, I'm finally going to do the thing I wanted to do, is very empowering.
Yeah.
And there is something about jewelry that, jewelry is one of the only things that lasts if you think about it, right? There's something about gold and stones and where they come from, and they last forever.
Yeah.
And it's really special.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things, like, what I love about what you're doing and why I wanted to talk with you on the show is, like, we have so many women listeners. Some of them are in a wonderful relationship. Some of them are on their own, and they're, as someone who has a lot of amazing jewelry, and I get to look at it. I walk into my room all the time. I wear as many rings as possible because it reminds me of who I am. But also, like, yes, there is something that I do. I have no children, but I do hope that someday, when I'm not here for this earth, people will use my jewelry in different ways, or it will remind them of me. But there's something about having, in my jewelry box, I have, like, my grandmother's engagement ring, and I have my father's wedding band. I have these things, and I, like, want to do something with them at some point someday, but there's just something about, like, we have these things that it has that memory. And if you can create something that is from you, that has all of your worthiness, and then you put it on your finger and you get to look at it every day, it's like a symbol of reminding of who you are and the worthiness that you have. And I think it can be really easy. A lot of people have been raised that material possessions are like a waste of time, but actually, like, sometimes it's the only memory we have of somebody. Like, having built that in and put that together, like you did with Lauren, like having that grandmother's touch inside kind of brings that legacy around and brings that worthiness, and, like, you're putting them together. I will say this quick little story. It has nothing to do with diamonds, but does have to do with a ring. We're recording this during the LA fires, and on my Instagram the other day, these firefighters were, like, searching. This reel was coming up. These firefighters are searching in this house for another firefighter. His house burned down while he was fighting someone else, the fire somewhere else. His house burned down, and they found his wedding ring because he wasn't wearing it when he was fighting the fires. He left it at home, and they figured out what part of the house it might be at, and they searched through the rubble, and they pull out this ring. And it was so emotional because, like, they've lost everything, right? They have nothing, but they do have that. And it's just, I'm crying out because, like, even though it's not a diamond ring, it's this piece that's, like, gives them some sort of, like, semblance of stability and hope and memories and all that stuff that encompasses it. So I really do think that jewelry can have so much more than a material possession. It can have all of you, your history, your life, your journey into a piece.
Absolutely. That's such a beautiful story, especially because, oh my goodness, especially because that's a miracle because it should have melted. So that's
kind of
insane.
Kind of insane that, like, it should have melted. It was, like, in the rubble of a house. There's nothing left. And they found this band, and it's fine. And he put it on his finger, and, like, he's like, what's your wife going to say? He's like, well, she didn't know I lost it yet. So now I have to tell her it's found. But so cute, so special.
So cute.
So, okay. So tell us a little bit more, because I think that some people may get overwhelmed by the idea of, like, designing a ring and worthiness. Let's talk about, like, what, if we were to do that with you, what's the process? How do we make it less overwhelming? How do we, and I guess maybe even, like, what are some things that women should go through to even give themselves permission to do this? Maybe that's a better place to start.
Okay. I really love that question because there's one thing that we can all really relate to. And that is, nobody hesitates now if they're like, I want that handbag. I'm buying that handbag in 6 months, or, I need a Chanel in my closet. Like, everyone has permission now to go and buy these very, very extravagant bags, right? And there's much more expensive ones than that. And there's no question. Nobody says I'm not worthy of buying an Hermes bag.
Yeah.
Right. So they've overcome that hurdle. But when it comes to diamonds, there's something that stops us. And honestly, I talk a lot. Obviously, I talk about jewelry a lot. And now it bugs me every time it happens. Everybody says, oh, I'll tell my partner. I'll tell my husband. I'll ask them for it. And this is still a thing. It's like we don't feel like we have permission to buy it for ourselves yet. Right? Sure, a $200 silver ring, you're going to buy for yourself. But why, when you're celebrating something so big, do you not feel like, I want that eternity band? Like, I'm buying that for myself.
Yeah.
Or even women, my goodness, the idea of the push present. It's like, they're still not even asking for their push presents. It's like, you almost died ready to get into this world.
Yeah.
At least you can get it a diamond. So,
right.
It's a permission issue. And so that's the first thing to overcome is think about that and let that sit with you and really think, why am I not giving myself permission? Because sure, the easy way out is it's expensive. I have to think about it. Yeah, of course. There's a lot of things in life that are expensive that you can plan for. There's
Yeah.
also ways to do these rings and this jewelry that are very cost friendly, and my team can help you figure that out. But I think the issue is there's a stop. So there's a permission issue.
I think that's a really what a I'm a Pilates instructor. I'm not a therapist, and when people move, trauma really leaves the body through movement, and so I've had to up level myself in areas of training so that I can spot when that's happening and not therapize because I still don't have that license, but also like notice when it's just like leaving the body and when it's like, hey, here, like how to handle that, right? And you are like going to like making jewelry because like it was a great experience. And now it's also like, oh, I also have to be able to identify and help a woman go, so maybe you should let's talk about why you think that you can't have this yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like why you're not worthy of it now. And it's true. Like maybe you do have to go, okay, I am worthy of it and I need to buy it in a year after like, that's a different story. But like,
of course,
I think that there's a habit, and for the single women, like you've got it. You have one less thing to think about. But as a married person, like I was raised in a house where I hear my mom go, I have to check with my husband, I have to check with this. And also, by the way, yes, households have budgets. There are things to check on.
Of course.
But also you could also know what your budget is to spend on yourself. And you like that should be a thing that's part of a marital household. Like my husband has his money to spend on his things without checking on me. I have my money to spend on my things without checking with him. Then we have our money that, if it's going to be in the household, we have to discuss. But there's not permission there. It's a discussion. And I think that's a difference in we just talked that through.
That's it. That's it. Jewelry is always most of the time lands on this, I need to ask permission, when it really should just be, I just really want him to know I want it and it's okay, and we'll decide when I'm getting it.
Yeah.
It is not a permission.
Yeah. And I think, it's really interesting is like most partners, I would like to think, I know that that's not all the case in the world that we're living in today, but most partners actually don't want to give you permission. They want you to have what you want, like
exactly.
I was asking something from Brad and he's like, you don't need permission to buy that. You can just buy it. And I was like, oh, that's right. Where did that come from? How did that come back? How did that come into me? I've never asked before. Like who did I just hang out with? So I think like I think it's worth evaluating if you're listening to this and you're like, I can't do, I don't know, like, or you're feeling resistance around this. Like I would just ask, like, are you guys having discussions in your relationship around what you'll invest in? Or is one person always asking permission, and like, how can we change that? Cause I think that, is worthy of evaluating and putting, some time in journaling and discussion into. So
I love that.
Okay. So let's go back to I want all the women who listen to this to feel worthy and also have something that they have chosen for themselves. So you got into this idea of like, she can get her own ring. And this is like with not the marriage ring, not the left-hand finger ring, but another finger ring.
Yep.
What is that like? Who is grabbing these? Who did you think of this for? Like what? Tell me more about it. Maybe I know.
Absolutely. I love it.
I have an empty finger. I have an empty one.
Yeah, but I know. I remember meeting you and I was like, I love her. She's like, she loves jewelry. No finger is unadorned, except maybe the one we have to fill. But you have to do something with the metal from your parents' rings. That's really
yes. Cool. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Yes.
Absolutely. That's perfect. It's like the sentimental piece that you need to add. So what I love about this is there are some women who are doing this for themselves. Let's say after having a baby, they're saying, I want a ring to commemorate that. I'm like, awesome, go for it. Good for you. Then there's women like we mentioned, Lauren, who's like, I really want to honor my journey and my legacy, which is super exciting. Now, we actually just released, speaking of the left-hand ring finger, we just released ring transformations, which we are basically like giving permission to women to say, this ring from when I got married 10 years ago is not in style and I don't even like it anymore, and revamping it and doing something with it.
I love that. I
And
love that.
it's so good. And you know what's fascinating is us releasing the program. It's like they knew they could do this whole time. Us saying apply for a ring transformation is like the permission they needed, because so many more people came out of the woodwork and are doing it now.
Yeah.
Because we said it, you know?
Well, I think also like it's on your to-do list, but then you're like, it just feels daunting. You're not really sure, you know, you almost like need the prompt. I love this. I think that's really cool. I also, for the women who are, you know, letting go of a relationship, I have seen women get beautiful rings, like divorced rings.
Yes, I know. I've done that. And there's some funny names for them out there, but, you know, and they've done something cool for themselves afterwards, which I love. And then I also hate, you know, because I don't want to just focus on this one finger. I hate when women say, like, you know, if I have a ring on that finger, then someone always ties it to a relationship. And then there's this whole other tangent of why is this piece of our body belonging to someone else? It's like, I feel sorry for the single women who just want to wear a ring. And if they go on either side, right, people will be like, oh, are you with someone? It's so frustrating.
Yeah, no, it really is. Also, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I lived in California and people can judge how they want to, but like whenever I wore a ring on that finger before I was married, it wasn't like it stopped anyone. Like I got engaged and I got more people asking me out on a first date at the Whole Foods in WeHo, which by the way is where everyone is gay. So I should have been like left alone. So, so I would just say like, I don't think anyone's actually that observant anymore.
So true. So true. But yeah, like they should have permission to wear whatever they want on whatever finger and celebrate themselves in whatever way they want, right? And it's so interesting because it's like some women are waiting for that to happen, for that moment, for that someone to give it to them. And like, if you're listening right now, you do not need to wait for that, you know? Do it for yourself. And if you do it for yourself first, and that happens later, it's probably going to be even more special because you're honoring yourself first.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm into that. I'm so into that. So ladies, put a ring on that finger and just put something that makes you feel powerful and wonderful and special. You know, this is be it till you see it. And I think oftentimes like the acting as if you are worthy before you might feel it is also helpful, because it's like, okay, if I did feel worthy, what would I do? What would I wear? How would I say yes to this? Would I be concerned about putting a ring on that finger or buying myself the ring that I've always wanted?
Yes.
You know, I think that, and then all of a sudden you can like start to step into those shoes easily. And so when that ring is ordered and put on that, it doesn't feel foreign. It doesn't feel like something you're embarrassed about. Yeah.
Yes. You're going to love it so much more too, because listen, I've been working with a lot of couples for many years now. Like you said, they're partial therapist, partial ring designer. And honestly, if you don't go through that process first, you're not going to honor yourself enough in a way to actually get a ring you want to wear.
Yeah.
You're going to compromise in ways that, and this is a piece you have to wear forever. This is where now when, you know, people come without their partners, it kind of freaks me out a bit. You know, like when the wearer of the ring isn't there.
Yeah.
Because it's so, how do you nail all of those details without the person wearing it? It's going to be on their body every day, maybe. So you deserve something that you truly love and truly honors who you are and what you want every day. And so I just think if you do that for yourself first, before getting into a wedding ring, you're not going to compromise on that wedding ring either. You're going to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like what a symbol of a ring if you've compromised all the way, like, you know, like what's going to happen? What's the be it till you see it if everything to the detail of the ring is a compromise, you know, versus like, I like this. I want this. Yeah. Oh my
100%.
gosh. Oh, I could talk to you forever about jewelry. Like I really could. I got a new emerald, by the way. I'll have to show it to you.
Ooh, yes, please. One of my faves.
It's so pretty. It's like I put it on my finger and I was like, as my friend, the person who made my wedding ring, I was at her house and she had it out and I was like, oh, what is this that I don't need, but I truly want? And I put it on and I was like, well, just look at that. And I was like, I was like, well, maybe I'll put the pink one on, you know? And then I was like, no, it's the one, I want the green one. So I just wore it and I sent a picture to Brad. I said, hey babe, what do you think about this? And he didn't respond. And I was like, well, you know, silence is admission. Like, it's permission. So
it's permission.
I just was like, And so I bought it. And he was like, oh, what'd you get? And I was like, well, I hope you like that green one.
I love that. Yes, I need to see that. With your hair too?
Oh,
Like green emerald.
it is so bright. When we're done recording, I'll grab it. So anyways, okay, we're gonna take a brief break because we could talk jewelry forever, but I want to find out some beauty action items from you and where people can work with you.
Amazing.
All right, Margot, where do you like to hang out? Where can people find you, follow you, connect with you, work on a ring with you?
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm most active on Instagram at Store by Margot. So that's STORBY, Margot with a T. And my two websites are storebymargot.com and margotmcnaull.com, which will be, you'll have them up, but my personal brand website, which is more women focused. And then Store by Margot is more tailored to the wedding side.
Wonderful. Okay. We've talked a lot about some really good stuff, but beit action items, the bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted steps women can take who are listening, and the few good men. By the way, we do have a few good men.
Love it.
We always call them out. That are listening that they can take to be it till they see it.
Love it. Okay, so I'm glad you gave me some time to think about this, but came down to don't give up on yourself. Because to go through what you need to go through to be that strong, successful, driven woman, you have to go through some pretty dark valleys, and you do have to look at things in a way that other people maybe don't want to. It's easier not to look at those things, but then you're going to come out with a less powerful message. So the thing that I reflected on was going through a decade where many times I wanted to quit. Well, I very much am not a quitter. I would say, like, I'm more of a beat myself up and keep going. But there would have been times where it would have been easier to quit, and I didn't quit. And instead I had to like look deep and figure out what was so uncomfortable and raw. And that's where I'm coming out of, I feel like, in a way. And, it seems like 10 years when you start a business, I mean, you know this, when you start a business, you'd think you'd be a long way in at year 10, right? Or you look at other people and you're like, man, look how well they did. And honestly, I feel like it's just the beginning because of all of these things I had to figure out. And if you do not want to look deep into yourself and you do not want to do deep work, definitely don't start a business, because I feel like it's really similar to having kids.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you. I did both at the same time. So hence the very deep, dark valleys of self-reflection and what purpose I wanted to have. But that's what I thought about be it till you see it is I just kept going through the darkness, and I just keep having faith in the process. And that's what I would say in terms of being it till you see it, because I'm very excited soon to be moving to the US.
Yeah.
But
you've been being until you see it on that US move for, I think, a few months after I met you. So it's kind of amazing that it's happening.
I'm so excited. Expanding the business into the US. But in some of in Canada, we had the longest shutdowns. We had some of the longest shutdowns in the world from 2020 to 2022. We were still closed January 2022. Can you even believe that?
It's insane.
And running a business at that point in time, you had to be crazy. And so I was thinking about, life would have been a lot easier if I had given up, but I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be talking about this message that I'm so excited to keep sharing and encouraging women with.
Yeah.
And so that's my be it for you for sure.
Yeah. I love that. And it's true. Like, if you don't want to get to know yourself and go through all the dark valleys, there's good too, but like you don't get the good without the dark. Like that's just how the world is, how everything is in our lives. Then go work for someone else where you can clock in, repeat things, and clock out, because it's running every single day I learn something about myself. I'm like, oh, I wish I could take that back. I wish I could do that differently. Okay, I get to do that differently next time, but I have to live with what I did this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Agreed.
It's a journey. But ladies and gentlemen, please consider, 1, your worthiness from this episode. 2, get the ring that you want for any finger. And 3, share this with a friend who needs to hear it.
Absolutely.
Share this with a friend who's like needs to remember that they like are truly married to themselves. And that is how we can I think, uplift each other and helping those around us feel worthy as well. So Margot, thank you so much. Y'all, make sure that you tag any takeaways with Margot, the Be It Pod, share with a friend, and until next time, be it till you see it.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.